For the first time in world history, all people on the planet are compelled to reckon with the actions of just one man, Putin. Why so? Because Russia, which Putin has single-handedly governed for 22 years now, has nuclear weapons. Today's war in the Ukraine can eventually go nuclear. Who in fact is the most dangerous man on the planet? Putin has never been a politician. He does not have the education to be one. Actually, he is a person with an inferiority complex and of low intelligence, a former KGB officer. In the wake of the fall of communism in Russia, an incredible plunder of state-owned assets began under the leadership of then-President Boris Yeltsin. This gang of political thieves feared being prosecuted and brought to justice. That's why, at the end of Yeltsin's last term as president, the gang appointed a nerd to be his successor so that no one would be able to touch them. This nerd, Putin, was a thief like them all. For his shady affairs in St. Petersburg during the 1990s, he should have spent years in prison. He became president, however. In the wake of this, it took Putin just a few years to take full control of the state's bureaucracy and the security forces. He also took over the news media. Thus, he successfully put under his thumb the entire enormous country of Russia. He did what Hitler once did with Germany. During Putin's first elections for president of Russia in 2000, several bomb blasts were organized in big Russian cities. The evidence pointed at Putin. Then, a number of politicians, military officers, secret service officers, journalists began to die unexpectedly. Some of them, like Polyatkovskaya, Gordienko, and Nemtsov, were killed. Navalny survived, being just a hair's breadth from death. No one doubts anymore that Putin physically eliminates, by murder or poisoning, those politicians, journalists, or former Russian agents he does not like. He does that not only in Russia, but also around the world. The number of his victims is estimated to be over 200 people. Is Putin a normal person? He has always kept hidden his children from his first wife. He is reported to have even changed their names. He is also hiding his current wife Kabiva, who is rumored to have borne 3 children to him. It is a known fact, however, that he has yet another daughter, born to him out of wedlock by a former lover. Thus, he has 6 children from 3 women in total. The news media in Russia do not dare discussing his private life. Putin is a man with a criminal soul. He is a thief, and one of the most dangerous ones at that. He is not afraid of getting wet, that is of spilling blood, whenever he deems it necessary. He entered politics with a single goal in mind, to become rich. He has formed a gang with some friends from his youth, and they have taken control of the state, stealing from Russia in an incredible manner. According to some experts, in the past 20 years his gang has stolen between $3 and $4 trillion from Russia. That is the reason why they had monstrously large wealth in the West until recently. Banks, companies, soccer teams, yachts, villas, palaces, apartments. The ordinary citizens of Russia live in abject poverty, the average pension being a mere $120 in rubles. In 2014, the Ukraine rose up against its pro-Russia President Yanukovych, forcing him to flee. Putin responded by taking over the Crimea, and creating the Donbass and Lugansk People's Republics. What was the cause for doing that? Putin is in fear that a similar uprising could occur in Russia also. He wants a buffer zone between his country and the West. Russia should not have a common border with a normal, democratic state because sooner or later the Russians will rise up. The small non-Russian speaking countries like Litva, Latvia, and Estonia are not a danger to him. But the big Russian-speaking Ukraine poses an extreme danger. The events in Kazakhstan in 2021 made Putin more fearful. The former President Nazarbayev had to flee the country after the coup of his successor Tokayev. He took away from him all of his power and threatened to work toward taking back the money stolen by the former oligarchs. This illustrated to Putin what he might expect as his own future. Sooner or later, he would have to flee. His problem is that he has no country that would accept him and guarantee his lifelong security. Having been misled by his military and foreign intelligence, Putin decided to play hardball against Ukraine. He started a war that he actually did not need to start. The West responded with heavy sanctions against Russia, against Putin personally and his relatives. and against the oligarchs. A return to the old model of peaceful coexistence between the regime of thieves in Russia and the remaining world is no longer possible. Putin and his gang had entered politics in order to steal. And now, they are looking for a way out by means of global politics. Their mantra is Russia is threatened by the West. NATO is encircling us. Prepare for a patriotic, and even for a world war. What can the world expect from the coming months? A separatist peace or nuclear blackmail in a world war? Will Putin turn into the Antichrist of 2022? Make sure to watch the next videos. Support financially our channel.